13.7 billion years ago. And so it's delivered in a very direct way, and people think these are facts. And yet, they don't have a clue. They don't have the faintest idea, the foggiest idea. They have no idea how things originated, the origin of things. For instance, in this statement, they take for granted that there was an electron, or whatever it is. That's what they refer to it as. They said it began 13.7 billion years ago, and it swelled from a size smaller than an electron. So they're saying there was something, this little tiny minuscule thing, that there was the size smaller than an electron. They're not specific as to what it was, and because they have no idea, and yet they are beginning their theory with its existence, its pre-existence. It is there already, and then they put their theory into motion. Well, then this thing, the size smaller than an electron, expanded and exploded. Hold it. They haven't answered the whole question of origin. They've just pushed it back a step. Now let's ask the question, where did the thing smaller than an electron, an unnamed thing, that it expanded and ballooned and increased to the size of our present universe, where did it come from? Well, their most brilliant scientist, Richard Hawkins, has put forth a theory, and yet he concludes his lecture by saying we're getting close to understanding the mystery of origin. They have no answer, no solution. They have theories that they are not even declaring that this is it. This is it. This is how it is, because there's faults in their theories, and they can't support their theories. And of course they can't. Of course they can't. They have no answer, and yet here, origins is the foundation. It is that which everything is built upon. And for instance, if you're going to build a house, you need your foundation stone, and then you construct your house upon that stone. And the Bible gives a good parable, a good illustration about that, because the Bible likens Christ to a stone upon which the house of God is built, and that house of God is a picture of all those God has saved, built upon a sure foundation. And so when the storm comes of Judgment Day, all those built upon the rock, upon Christ, will endure. They will stand. They're part of a steady house that can withstand the storm. Well, when we're looking at the beginning of all things, when we're looking at the question of where did everything come from, and of course evolution is related to this question, because it's the same presupposition that scientists use for evolution that they use for the origin of all things, and that is, there is no God, because we cannot prove there is a God. He's said to be a spirit being. We cannot prove spirit beings, therefore there is no God. And so where did all the creatures come from? Where did the ants and the elephants and man come from? Oh, first, what's the first thing? First is the universe, the world. Where did it come from? It came from the Big Bang. Then natural processes. They are formulated, and they say, and then things began to develop. After the Big Bang, there is evolution, an evolving of creatures. And it doesn't matter that these creatures are complex and intricate and just amazingly designed. When we put the telescope or the microscope to any part of God's creation, we see very definite design. Things just couldn't have fallen together randomly or accidentally. It just doesn't happen that way anywhere else, but none of that matters, because they are absolutely convinced there is no God. There must therefore be some other explanation. And it doesn't matter how far-fetched, how ridiculous the other explanation is. It must be the explanation because there is no God. And yet, with their foundation principle, their theory of the origin of all things, they have none. They have no beginning point. They have no explanation for how everything got here. And actually, none they'll admit to. Speaking of the secular mind, the natural-minded individual, the scientists of the world, the worldly people that accept that there is no God, or that accept the things being taught in universities and high schools today, that accept those things that are written in textbooks because, after all, they are written in a textbook and therefore it must be true. Yet they have no rational explanation for the beginning of all things. And really, there's only two options for the origins of all things, for the Genesis, and Genesis means beginning. There's only two options that are possible. One, we have here in Genesis 1 verse 1, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. God is the mover. He is the prime mover behind all things. Everything exists. Every creature exists and functions, and the world operates the way it does because of God. That is a very rational, reasonable, and full explanation for everything we see. It explains the complex design that's found in creatures that are all around us. It explains mankind, the special creature, as the Bible will go on to instruct us and lay out, that God created one particular creature in his own image, and so we find man as a moral creature who knows good and evil and right and wrong, or is held responsible to know that, and so forth. The Bible explanation, it is full and complete, and explains everything in all the realm of created things. We know why rocks exist. We know why trees and mountains and rivers and every creature, butterflies and turkeys and ducks and everything else. We know why everything exists because God created it. And so the people of God, they look at this explanation and are content. They fully believe it, fully trust it, fully understand it, and it's a good thing because it is the best explanation. It is the most rational explanation there is.